Hi, this is the Van Ness place I'm staying at. I got a place on 430 Turk. In fact, I have to see the general manager for that one. Low-income housing is right in front of the FBI. Again, and again, sis. What I'm saying is, I was never homeless on 92 and above. I was flying. And then 85, you can see it coming like a freight train. With all that intel, all the runnings, the flyings, well, why is it too global, the Crawleys? Now, Crawleys, I would say homeless, I'm kept by the government. They find like places, shelters, that, like with Pamela Cartwright at MSC South, MSC North, okay? So, listen to this. That's on the literal Crawleys. Crawleys. So, I think everyone knows more than enough about Fresno areas. So, there's one guy who has a beanie hat who took off his wig the very first week at MSC South in February 2017. He's white. He's obviously FBI, CIA, and has been stuck on my ass at every moment, even when I was with Stil von Heinel, or aka Heine, what we call private security, son of Hell's Angels, born in Fresno, who followed me to Texas, New Hampshire, New York, and even Poland. So I dated him for 4 years. Why? Even if he was Heine, because the first 4 years I was tracking. I was with no money for 2 years, literally, because they took the house under my name. 2594 West Ellery Avenue is under my name. Okay, it's my house. For 2 years, they kept that house with guns, saying my mother had dementia and stuff like that, which is not true. And then they released the mother, brought her to Poland, shut on Poland 4 times, cleaned the rule of law so much that there's no record. She has the cleanest record in history. She was 80 when they took her to Moscow, because I was in Moscow 5 times. Now, because we didn't see the mother, the Polish paid even more. And there's a Pole exit going on. So this is what I knew when I was 5 years old at the India school. Just look at the pictures, the photo, the profile photo on Facebook. Now, the girl had done something very big. It was not only space rockets and science rockets and Pfizer and Johnson & Johnson in Poland, Lowlands. It's all news on the news. We know about Schadenfreude Jr. in Fresno areas for the last 20 years. Highest cancer rate in the U.S. Lit like water. That's Schadenfreude Jr. Get the motherfuckers in Fresno areas for both parents. So, considering that a ghost of myself with a Delft social security number, not Eindhoven, is telling you this, after being Hagued, Dirk-Jan van Dam, her intelligence, on the coastlines and having negatives of herself, Global, Julieta Novoa, in 70 countries and 25 states, you could see the Ubermensch brothers taken from the family, what we call taken Indios children after the Hague on the coastlines and reeling the hole in the wall with the white hairs. This is all news on the news for the intelligence communities. Whatever happened on the coastlines, Global, is more than known around the world. Unfortunately, a lot of people don't know it because they're jackasses. And the shit that I used to do in La Sapienza on the 1st, 2nd, and 5th floor is completely knowledge empty. Together in German Esse, Pacific coastlines, where I used to work most of the time, and so forth, connected dots Global. Forget about high school, 13 to 15. I was in Woolwich by 15, and I went to school for free. That's why. Anyway, there's another, and he's the one I like. The problem with the guy with the beanie hat is he won't talk. He won't talk if you pay him to. Other than take off his kit 5 times at cap and leave his boxer shorts on. And last week. Now, it seems that at the moment, we have 10,000 love letters from no prizes and others and people in depression still obsessing about a dead baby on the news about abroad. And it's not news because it's old news. In any case, considering that shit's void and voiding, and then there's the voiders. And I can't change that ass-white piece of paper, Delft, if you ask me to, in the Pacific coastlines, or in Germany, or in Rome, or in London, or Global, because I'm dead. According to Delft standards, they say if I'm Delft, then, you know. There's another guy called Sam, who's not a bad guy, but he's a bit Schadenfreude Jr. For instance, he touches my ass 5 times. He's below me now. I'm in Martha 28 downstairs. Because upstairs there was this German Jewish guy called, I don't remember his name. Anyway, he was a bit racist to somebody, and people, an Iraqi guy, and people there attacked him. And I just, being myself, just said it. Just shut it up. So I moved. I'm downstairs now at Martha 28. And of course I'm waiting for this low-income housing, which I got. I got this job with a big boss downtown. It was Turk and Russians and internationals and a lot of Japanese and a lot of Chinese and so forth. And so it's a full-time job. That's it. And I'm keeping it. They give me weekend jobs too. Happens that it's 5 or 10 minute walk from the FBI center here in San Francisco. And the low-income housing on 430 Tuck is literally the building facing the FBI. So I'm waiting for this SRO. It's extremely cheap. Egbert gave it to me and it was well prepared. When I went there, they said to me that the room was right in front, It's like, well, we were waiting for you. I said, well, the appointment was July 16, the letter. Appointment 18, I received it a few weeks ago. Returned to sender. When I went there, they came out in badge. They said, we're waiting for you. When I got in, number 76, I got number 7. They took me in immediately. Okay, so don't worry about that. Now, so as I was saying, I actually like the Sam guy, but I think he's a bit of a shot for a junior. He's worried that I'm going to report him for something like that. I'm not like your bitches who report for nothing. This was nothing. This is what, after years and years and years, a normal guy that just caresses somebody's ass. But so obviously, then he's got mood swings. I'm like, I can't fucking report that. I've known you for 8 years, Sam. If you and the other guy want to duke it out over me, you go the fuck ahead. Because I've already seen the reaction of the CIA, FBI towards Sam. And the sort of electricity at the Dolores shelter, yes. So, guys, we have enough problems, like, don't need this extra, bullshit drama theater. Now, the only thing I agree with this guy is that I talk to myself. Having said that, who doesn't in there? We're speaking about the shelter. Most of these shelters are high. Some of them are high on drugs. Some of them are skanks. Local students who come into the fucking shelters just to fuck everybody. They ain't even fucking don't qualify for army skanks. So, shelters in Frisco. So, and then we have the tag-alongs. We have Charles Manson's cousin tag-along from Fresno, who married me. I won't touch you with a barge pole. What are we, the Jodie Foster movie with the orphan girl? What the fuck? In other words, grow up. As for Jodie, who worked in the CDFA where Frank Zarate was chief in Fresno and was there only once a week or once a month because he was drinking to himself to death, trying to bomb the fuck out of Fresno, saying, I can't say this fucking shit all over town about the CDFA. They're fucking nuts. And Jodie working there, who was from Yosemite. No. We have Florence Marley with the Skylarks and the whole shit. And white hair from Nevada, Arizona only. I always think about New Mexicans. So get the motherfuckers. Alright? And New Mexico's from where? The Arctic Circle? Woohoo! Up so much for Cunningham geography. Fuck, you couldn't be smart enough. Polish is so intelligent. Woo, what a clean record for the bar. Woo, 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 Gabba with no white hair. Woo, 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 doing something on news. Woo, 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 lowlights. I wasn't lowlights. Yeah, Douse. Otherwise, you didn't even fuck get the basic from the Angels Coast. And then you got pissed off. The Disneyland is telling you to your face after she was genetically grafted from Hookensack, New Hampshire, Graft City, after the coastline, Hague, to my intel. In other words, you're stupid. And that's old news on the news, goodbye. Now, that shit's voiding by itself without me. Why? Why they stuck to Gobal and Primus? Most probably because the intelligence community yourselves could see that the Hague was a little bit too much for that girl. And they lost so much intelligence because Mermaid had dragged down the entire ship in Woolwich and other places with her, with the white hairs, global. She was a freak in space and a freak in science. So if you start speaking to me about how intelligent you are, and you say that to me after all the flyings and runnings worldwide, of lies, to global, and 2 high schools and stupid times, you know what gets it? You know who gets it? Yes, oh, I'm doing it for the money. Yes. Not career. Oh, yeah. I'm doing it for the beauty. Beauty, but ugly. In other words, the basics never hurt to say. And thank you for the Crawleys for 8 years. Thank you, and not. Literal. Fresno, where the parents retired. So when they say connect the dots global, that's easy. It's stressful with the white hairs on the floors and basements. But yeah. So that's why they call us, me, the bros, ghost children. Yeah. It's just illegal in itself. Old news on the news. That's what these foster families. Oh. Anyway, that's not it. When the intelligence was very high and broke space and sciences, and did some weird shit, man. Get the fuck out with this Manhattan Project. Shut the front door with the Manhattan Project, girl. Anyway. So this is what we call the narrator from Amber. This is what we call the Disneyland version, storyline of what happened to that girl. Considering I can't change that shit, global, and considering that the obsession till today still is Fresno area's retirements of the parents. Now, they did obsess a bit about my death, but then again, my line of work, if you could call it a line of work, wasn't exactly what we call Delph's social security number, a line of work. And it was a line. And as you can see, it's still. Delphis. Putinos. SYPinos. Social Securitynos. And that's it with a bandage. In other words, the reason they're saying you're full of shit in the US is because you killed that girl and they're still making a point out of it for others and others. Thank you and goodbye. Old news on the news. The parents are separate from that. Que chotra! Retirements in Fresno areas up many 92 flies. Many runnings of flies 85, and what was the other one? Crawlers. Correct. Yeah. Correct. My times I have crawlers. Now, if you ask Laura Quintus on the CIA headquarters, and the base, the big DOJ hanging benches up many times, why they're defending the parents, they're going to turn around and shit in your face, Frisco. So, Frisco. Yup. Why didn't you do the space bomb with the t-shirts on the East Coast? Havana. And Fresno areas. Many times. Is this another case of Schadenfreude Jr.? The areas of Fresno? Is that what's going around global that many multiple times? Now, the only thing that I agree with these guys is that I'm a pest when it comes to talking to yourself and singing, because I sing. Now I sound like a Grange. From Curatura to Basso, with that radia in 70 countries and 30 states global. I've become a karaoke artist. So much for America's Got Talent. Sure, in the J-Lo division. You know, you can't change that number, and because nobody likes J-Lo with that back going down on the coastlines, I can't help it. Ask global, all news on the news. Ask the South Koreans, and please don't be callous. That is not my dictionary for the parents, because I don't exist, and they come from pioneer country on the capital cities. So when they say go children stuck in between the parents, for beautiful Fresno areas and whatever that global shit that's defined by itself, I ask the intelligence communities, well, what's global? What the fuck was this all about? On the coastlines and an ESA with white ass with that poor little baby Disney girl. Now, when I was in the Vatican, after 4 years of trekking, I went to the hospital. Before I went there, someone the order took me there. I was a police officer, the chief of the Roman police, and the poor guy had a nervous breakdown. So this is his colleague. Baby, I remember your intelligence, what you did, just unbelievable. No, baby, no. Why? Oh, shit. I can't watch. I can't watch what this. I can't watch what this. You're stuck between the hell is that for the parents now? It's just a baby. Oh, it's a blip it down. Yeah. In other words, the Italian regular police, or what we call flat feet, are having nervous breakdowns around. And this is not the first time I'm doing the crawlers around the world's global. Is this understood Fresno areas? Good. Goodbye. No, goodbye. Oh, and keeping up with Lady of the House. No, that's it. Goodbye.